Jason Todd was the second Robin to accompany Batman on his nightly adventures, but that did not come without a cost. Welcome to the life, death and rebirth of Jason Todd. Jason was the son of a young couple who were circus acrobats named the Flying Todds. His parents were killed by Killer Croc and Bruce Wayne adopted him. Does this sound familiar? That's because it is. Jason was originally a blatant copy of Dick Grayson. The only difference was that Jason was a redhead while Dick has black hair. Even their personalities were the same. A cheerful young boy who cracks jokes and has fun. Luckily, he was created in 1983, which was close enough to the Crisis on Infinite Earths event, after which he was revamped into the Jason Todd we know today. In this story, Jason was the son of a convicted man and a mother who died of a drug overdose. Jason took care of himself by ripping off car parts and selling them for cash. In the meantime, Jason was being watched by a man we all know as the Joker. Joker orchestrated events in Jason's life to lead him to meeting Batman and becoming his sidekick. He did this to eventually try to kill Jason and hurt Batman. Eventually, Jason came across the Batmobile and tried to steal its tires. Bruce Wayne tried to make Jason go to a school for troubled kids, but that school turned out to be a training ground for juveniles. Bruce took the boy in fear that Jason would turn to crime if he didn't. This version of Jason Todd wasn't as cheerful as the pre-crisis one. Jason now was impulsive, reckless, and angry. Bruce thought Jason would make a great Robin if he could channel that rage towards criminals, especially because he has skills and knowledge from living on the streets. On one of their first missions together as the new dynamic duo, Jason learns that his father was killed by Two-Face, and he even got more upset learning that Batman already knew about that. He did make Batman proud by not going full on against Two-Face. Instead, he let him get arrested. However, this was not always the case. Jason struggled with knowing what was right or wrong. He has even used guns to fire at criminals. He allegedly also killed a man named Felipe Carzonaza after discovering he assaulted a young girl and drove her to take her own life. It's unknown what really happened, but it looks like Jason pushed the guy off the balcony. This scared Batman a lot, so he asked Barbara Gordon to work with Jason and observe him. She later warned Bruce for the darkness inside of him. Fans of DC Comics were not a huge fan of this Robin. This dislike became very clear in the comic A Death in the Family. In this story, Jason finds out his mother was alive. He tracks her down and finds out she is being blackmailed by the Joker. Sheila, his mother, had been embezzling funds, and to continue covering up what she was doing, she handed her own son over to the Joker. Joker beat him with a crowbar and left both Jason and his mother in a warehouse with a time bomb. At this point, fans were instructed to choose whether or not Robin should live. They had to call one number to keep him alive, or call another one to kill him off. Fans decided to let Robin die, and so that's what happened. The time bomb went off with Jason inside the building. Batman considered this his biggest failure and kept Jason's Robin outfit in the Batcave. We're still talking about comics here, and we know people don't stay dead for a long time. 6 months after his death, the evil Superman, Superboy Prime, punched reality which stuttered the timeline. Because comics. Jason was restored to life and broke out of his grave. He got admitted into the hospital because the injuries he sustained by the Joker had not fully healed. A criminal recognized Jason and informed Talia al Ghul, who brought him to the Lazarus Pit. Jason feels as if his death was never avenged and learns that Bruce never killed the Joker. So he starts to train to do it himself and becomes the Red Hood. The Red Hood is more of an anti-hero. He wants to clean Gotham of its corruption, but does it in a little more violent way. Therefore, he has gone against Batman on multiple occasions. Eventually, Batman finds a Robin mask in his Batmobile that was kind of the mask Jason wore. He investigates further and finds that Jason's coven has always been empty. Jason's revenge didn't end just yet. He learned that Batman had replaced him with a new Robin, Tim Drake. Jason broke into the Titans Tower, knocked out all of the Titans, and ripped the R logo off Tim's suit. Jason continued his rampage and went after the Joker. He held him hostage so that Batman would show up. Here they talk about why Batman hadn't killed the Joker to avenge his death. Of course, Batman doesn't kill, so Jason becomes angry and confronts Batman with all the people Joker has hurt and killed, especially Jason. Jason believed Batman would cross that line. He said, "Doing it because he took me away from you." Batman explains that killing the Joker wouldn't be hard for him. Instead, it would be too easy, but there's no way back once he crosses that line. Jason offers him an ultimatum. Jason will kill the Joker, unless Batman kills Jason first. Of course, Batman finds a way out by throwing a batarang that injures Jason. In the New 52 era, Jason tried to make up for his sins by leading a group of heroes called the Outlaws. He then wore a bat signal on his chest. This could be a sign that he wanted to be part of the family again. This, however, does not mean he changed his way of fighting crime. He remained brutal and still used lethal force against his enemies. He tried to only use it when necessary or when there was no other option. But being part of a team again did him good, and he finally felt like he belonged somewhere. When we listen to Jason's story, there are two themes that constantly repeat themselves besides severe trauma, namely the fear of being replaced or abandoned and the need for a family. The fear of being abandoned is often rooted in a traumatic experience during childhood, which is very clearly the case with Jason. As a child, he was alone. He lived as an orphan for quite a while, and even when his parents were alive, they were neglectful in their parenting. This fear can have some long-term effects such as anger issues and low self-esteem. We see both in Jason as well. Jason is angry at Batman for not avenging him. He throws Batman's principles away and becomes more violent while fighting crime and goes so far as to killing people whenever he feels it's necessary. His low self-esteem is visible in his relationship with Tim Drake. When Batman replaced Jason with Tim, Jason feels like Tim is a better Robin and envies him. He feels forgotten because the Titans don't have a memorial statue for him. Jason tends to overcompensate for his low self-esteem as well. He tries to convince himself that he's right and he's a better crime fighter than other people, such as Dick Grayson. During Infinite Crisis, Jason dressed as Nightwing to fight crime his way, aka killing people. His reasoning is that he would be a better Nightwing because he's more proactive in stopping crime. He replaced Dick once as Robin, so he could do it again as Nightwing. The need for family comes forth of his fear of being replaced. As I mentioned before, Jason was an orphan and turned to crime to sustain himself. He received care by Bruce Wayne and Alfred. When that fell apart, he was angry because he was alone again. And again, he turned to crime and anti-heroic matters to live his life. Luckily, he found a new family in the Outlaws and the Bat family again. All of Jason's actions after being resurrected were to reconnect with Batman. He spent years in hiding, training. He deliberately chose the name Red Hood because of the Joker, Batman's greatest nemesis. He put so much time and effort into becoming that persona, kidnapping the Joker, all to see Batman again and give him that ultimatum. All these signs lead me to the attachment style theory by John Bowlby. According to this theory, the relationship kids have with their parents influence their relationships later in life. There are 4 attachment styles: avoidant, disorganized, secure, and anxious. The avoidant attachment style characterizes itself in people who act strong and independent. They have high self-worth and feel as if they do not need to be in a relationship in order to feel whole. They avoid emotional closeness. People with a disorganized attachment are more unstable. They want intimacy and a close bond, but on the other hand, it also scares them and they have difficulties trusting others. They are afraid of getting hurt. Children who grew up to have a healthy relationship with their parents tend to have a secure attachment. They're able to ask for help, they're comfortable by themselves, trust others, and have good communication skills. The anxious attachment style is visible in people who are afraid of being alone. They seek approval and support. They have a strong fear of abandonment, and this is what we see in Jason. They tend to make others prove their love. Jason does this by forcing Batman to kill the Joker, but also by being angry for the lack of memorial in the Titan's Tower. He is so preoccupied with finding love, but also anxious that people like Batman never truly loved or cared for him in the first place. He has been alone for so long, all he wants is for someone to be there. There's a vicious cycle of needing the sense of belonging and love, but also feeling anxious and insecure. There are many questions that could have gone through Jason's mind. Was Tim a better Robin than Jason? Was Jason a disappointment to Batman after Dick? Dick was the first person in Bruce's life he truly trusted and cared for, after Alfred of course. Was Jason just a placeholder for the partner Batman wished never left? And if the Joker had killed Dick, would his death have been avenged?